Yeah, closing 2.
Closing 2. I hope you guys, no, I don't like that. Take 4. Closing 3.
So much.
Okay, closing 3. All right, so that's it. This is the finished now I can't talk. Hello, welcome to my channel. So you see what I'm holding here, so I'm sure you already know by the thumbnail what I want to be talking about. I really just wanted to do a fun little casual get ready with me. This is the first day that I'm using the brushes. Super excited about this collaboration with Makeup by Mario. I'm a huge fan, like many of you are. So I was really interested to see what he created with Sephora for his brushes. And yes, I got the Master Brush Collection, 13 brushes, 119 bucks. When you break it down per brush, not too bad. Not too bad at all. I mean, even when you compare it to Morphe and drugstore prices, it's really not that bad, but it is some coinage if you want to get the whole set. They do have an eye one. They do have just a face complexion one if you just are into that one. But for the money, I thought, and the value, go for the big boy. But that's just me. So yeah, so let's just get into it. Let's talk about some products I'm trying out. Let's talk about the brushes. And yeah, so let's get started.
Damn!
So I always like to start with my eyebrows first. So I'm going to be using my Benefit Brow and 3.5 is the shade. So with this brush, this is Mario's eyebrow brush. It was kind of, it took me a minute to get used to it. The second time I've used this brush, I actually really do like it. It's different though from what I'm used to. It's like scratchier. It's a different type of texture. So it did take some practice, but I think it's great at creating those real stroke-like, whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. So it gives it more of a natural vibe, and then I like going back in and filling it in with shadow. But I do really like the effect that it gives. It gives a really nice natural look. And then I always like to use my spoolie just to kind of blend it all in together. And yeah, so now I'm going to be using my Anastasia Pro Pencil. I like to use this. It's a quick way to just kind of carve out your brows, make them look clean and sharp. And then I'm going in with Mario's concealer brush just to blend it all in. And I really like it. It's very soft and luxurious. Nothing groundbreaking, but I do really like it and it does the job well. And I'm going in with my good old L'Oreal Brow Gel. Love this stuff. It's one of my favorite products for brow gel, and it is drugstore. So it's affordable. And then I'm going to be priming my eyelid with MAC Painterly. But I will say I did, because I have used this brush set a few times now since this recording, and I personally have found that I like prepping my eyes better with a concealer with these brushes than I do with the MAC Paint Pot. I think the shadows just came out and worked better with his brushes with the concealer, if that makes sense. So I don't know, maybe the base primer needs to be thinner. But here I'm going in and setting my eyes with a translucent RCMA powder to get it ready for my shadows. And I'll be using my NATASHA DENONA Biba palette to get this eye look today. So I'll be using the shade Freckle to warm up the crease area, get that transition vibe going. And then I am using Mario's blending brush to do that. Works great, loved it. Feels very soft, blended the shadows really easily. So that was a good go. I also used xoxo in the outer corner of my eye just to kind of give more of that cat-like look to it. And then I'm going in with his detailed brush, and I'm going in with Seed to just warm up that crease area, give it a little bit more definition to my eye. And then I'm using the blending brush, going back in with that just to kind of blend all the 3 shades together. Now I'm going to be using something new. It is the Huda Beauty Matte and Metal Melted Shadows in the shade Double Pump Latte. One side is a glitter, one side is a matte shadow. I am using this on the inner part of my lid to kind of clean everything up It's a really soft tan color, very neutral, but I really love the color, but I will say I'm not happy with this product at all. The idea of it sounded great, but and right here I'm going in with the concealer brush just to try to like blend, because it is liquid to matte, it'll like dry down to a powder. So I was doing that to kind of give it almost like, I'm not great at it, but some type of like a cut crease vibe, but it just did not blend well on my eyes. It made like the shadow that I had done previously kind of patchy. So I don't know if maybe it just doesn't work well with the MAC paint pot, but I was not happy with it at all. And then now I'm going to be using the detail brush, or no, I'm sorry, the smudge brush in that black color in the palette. It's called Spot, and I'm going to be using that to kind of create a liner. I'm not used to really using that type of brush, and so I always go back to my Never Fail flat definer. But then I realized I went back to the smudge brush. It's very tiny, so I like it because you can really get into those really tiny crevices, like the inner corner of your eye. And I went back to use that, and I actually liked it better than the flat liner, so that was cool. Then now I'm going to be using just a makeup wipe to clean up the edges, give it more of like a winged out look, clean it up a little bit. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Easy breezy. Now hair needs to be pulled back. Now we're going in for the full mug beat. I'm going to be using some primer. One of my current favorite primers right now, it's the Milk Hydro Grip. That stuff does not play. It's super tacky and moisturizing. Love it. Keeps your makeup on all day. And I'm going with my go-to foundation, my Too Faced Born This Way in the shade Golden with Mario's foundation brush. And I am loving this foundation brush. I didn't really have high expectations. You know, I just figured it was like another round domed type kabuki, but it gives just the prettiest finish. It wasn't streaky on me at all. It gave it beautiful coverage. I noticed too, it is smaller than a lot of other foundation brushes, but I personally like that. I could go right there, like between my hairline, with my eyebrows, between my eyebrows. You could just get into a lot of smaller areas without having to use a different brush. So for me, I liked it. It was, I know some people, they kind of have their opinions and they like bigger foundation brushes to cover a larger area at a time, but I actually really, really like it. Then I always bring it down the neck, no matter what. Of course, my face, you know, is always lighter than my body. So I'm just trying to make sure it's matching all the way down. Then I'm going to be concealing and highlighting my under eyes with one of my current favorite concealers, and it's drugstore. It's the CoverGirl True Blend Concealer in the shade Soft Tan. Love it. It's a great concealer. And then I'm using Mario's concealer brush to just kind of clean up my wing, clean up the area of where I did my eyeshadow so it just looks a little more defined. And then I'm gonna be highlighting the areas that I wanna highlight, like under my mouth to kind of perk my mouth up, my chin, my forehead, my nose, all the huge. So I always let my concealer get a little tacky. That really helps with creasing for me. And so then now I'm just going to be going in with my, I believe this one is my e.l.f. sponge. But yeah, so my damp e.l.f. sponge, going in and blending out that concealer. And then I'm adding, this is an extra step, you obviously don't have to do this, but I'm going in with the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in Honey. It's a really pretty like peach undertone, which is great at counseling, and it just brightens, and I just like it. It's a pretty color. So I'm just going to do the same thing. I let it dry, got a little tacky, and then I'm going in with that same, well actually this is a different one. It's a mini, I believe it's a mini Real Technique sponge, and it's damp, and I'm going in and just blending all those areas back out again. I'm going to be doing some bronzing, cream bronzing / contouring with the Too Faced Born This Way Sculpting Concealer in the shade Mocha. And I'm going back in with that same foundation brush to blend all that in. I love to do sections at a time. I know you don't have to do that. It's just, I don't know, I'm more comfortable doing it one section of my face at a time. So I'm starting with the cheeks and then my forehead. I always do a little bit on the tip of my nose to create more of a shadow. And then of course the good old DC, the double chin, create some shadows under there to help your girl out. And yeah, and the foundation brush did a great job at blending the cream bronzer too. So love it for that too. Then now I'm making sure that there are no creases before I set. And now I'm going to be using Mario's powder detail brush. And I'm going to be setting my under eye with the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish in shade 1. It is a lighter shade, so I do like to use that for the highlighted areas. And then I go and set the rest of my face with Charlotte Tilbury as well, but in the shade 2. So I'm setting the rest of my face with that one. And then this is a brush that you can only get in this pack. It's a bonus brush, but I really like it. It's a contour brush, and Mario specifically really likes it to do the forehead and the jaw, which I love because I use a different brush for my forehead too. And so this works great for that. So I love that brush. It works really, really good. It's a more flat type, so it just hugs the curves of your dome, I guess. And then this is his contour brush, his other angled one, and love this too. I am used to using more of a larger bronzing brush, like a MAC, I believe 135. So this is smaller and more detailed, but it does chisel you out. So I did really like it. And I'm using, let's see, what did I use? Oh yeah, I used my MAC Mineral Skin Finish in Dark Deep. And then I carved out my nose with a little bit of Benefit Hoola. And then now I'm going to be going in, it's a little dramatic, but I'll blend it out later, but it's the Benefit Caramel Bronzer, which I love. It's such a beautiful color, but I wasn't used to this brush does pick up quite a bit of product, so I'll have to do a little bit of blending later. So I'm just going back in with the caramel as well to do my forehead too. And then I'm using my Huda Beauty baking powder in Cupcake just to carve out, clean up the contour area. And then I also am going to be using that to kind of like a light bake under my eyes. I'm not doing a sponge today, or when I film this, but I'm using that detailed powder brush again. I love this powder. It just really blurs out your pores and just makes your skin look super smooth. So I love doing it over that area with where you're more textured with pores. And then I'm using Mario's powder brush to kind of buff everything back into my skin and kind of blur everything out. And I love this powder brush. It is heavenly. It is so, so soft. And then I'm going to be doing some tight lining with the Inglot Gel Liner with my Sigma. What brush is this? It is for tight lining, but it is the Sigma Tight Liner in E16. So I'm using that. And then now I'm going back in to finish my under eyes. And I'm using those same shades. So I'll be using Freckle to warm everything up. And then I'm using that glitter that's in that Huda thing that I did, like the matte and metal. I will say though, it's very pretty, that metal shade. It's very dramatic, very bright, great for like a nighttime look. But yeah, so that was something that I did like about that product. And then now I'm actually trying to tone it down because it's so metallic. So I'm just kind of going back in and using all those shadows to blend. And then I'm using the smudge brush, which I love. It's a, what do you call it? It's like the detailed, but the smudge, it's great for those little areas, and you kind of create that liner effect. And now I'm going in with some blush with his cheek brush, which I love. It's perfect for blush. I'm actually using the Kathleen Lights ColourPop collab in So Retrograde. I love it. It's a great blush, really pigmented, and it's this kind of shimmery orange, which I love to use, and I love to layer with pink. So I'm using Burt's Bees blush in Shy Pink. And now I'm gonna be setting my face with my absolute favorite setting powder. It has dethroned MAC Fix Plus, and it's the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dewy Set. Love it. It's so, so good. I am just obsessed. And I am going to be using the highlight brush to try to highlight. I'm not a big highlighting person anymore, but I'm using the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder and Luminous Light. And then I am going to be spraying my stuff down with my Urban Decay All Nighter. I will say that the highlighting brush was a little miss for me. I am not blown away by it. Maybe I just need to use a different highlighter with it, but so far that's one of my underwhelming reactions to the brushes, but I can use it for a lot of other things, so that's what I'm gonna have to do. And then now I'm just priming my lashes with the L'Oreal primer. And then I'll be doing my L'Oreal Lash Paradise mascara, my OG. And then I'll be doing my lower lashes and another OG, Rimmel Lash Accelerator. So those are my favorites for lashes. And I'm trying a new lash. It's the Ardell Naked Lashes. So it's supposed to have a thinner band. It's in 421, and I actually really did like them. They were super comfortable, really easy to put on, and they're definitely like a fluttery, wispy vibe. So that's my jam all day, every day. So I liked it. Then now I'm going to be going in with my liner, which is KKW. Really like her liners. I believe this one is in, I'll make sure to put the right one down below, but I believe it's, 1.5, I think. And then my current go-to lipstick is a good old goodie, oldie but goodie. It's MAC Kinda Sexy. So I love that. And then I'm just going back in to put some liner back in there. And I'm gonna be using Patrick Ta's lip gloss, and she's an influencer, I believe.
All right, so that's it. This is the finished look. I hope you guys had fun with me while I tried out these brushes. I tried out some products. Some were hits for me, some were misses, but I am really enjoying the brush set so far. Really impressed with the quality, the feel. You really can get a full face beat with his entire, or the Master Collection set. Love the case. It's very nice, very good quality. I think for the value, for what you're getting, it's a really good buy. So if you're just a big fan of Makeup by Mario, or if you're in the hunt for a great brush set, I think this is a good one to get. And yeah, so that's it. I hope you guys had fun with me, and I'll see you in the next one.